Hello everybody, welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we're just covering what the 2024 election map looks like based on the current polling averages for the month of June 2024. So, not a lot has changed. I mean, the conviction only kind of barely hurt Trump, I would say. It hurt him by a point or two. That's pretty much like the average. I'd probably say like it hurt him by 1.5%, I would argue. But overall, we're just going to start off with the safe red states. It's pretty simple. Utah, it's just still Trump just dominantly leads in this state by over 10 percentage points. So let's just keep setting up these safe red ones. Okay, well, I guess we could start South Carolina. Again, polls constantly have Trump ahead in this state by a good amount. Let's head to Iowa up next. Now, an interesting poll has come out. Salzer has done a poll here. It showed Trump up in Iowa by, I think this polling average didn't update yet, but there was a poll that had him up at 18 percentage points, I believe. So he's dominantly ahead. And Seltzer is a very good pollster for the state of Iowa, but an 18 percentage point lead, that's pretty big. So this state's solidly out of contention at this point, and the polling pretty much shows that it's pretty much gone the way of Missouri, a very, very safe red state, a very rural state, very white state, and that's kind of why it shifted away for Democrats. Ohio, on the other hand, we're seeing Ohio vote a lot differently from Iowa. They usually vote quite similarly, but I think this was kind of bound to happen eventually because Ohio is a lot more. It has a lot more urban and suburban areas. Has a much higher population. It's a less white state than Iowa is. So eventually, Ohio is going to vote different from Iowa. And the most recent poll here has Trump only ahead here by 8 percentage points. So this is a likely R state. It is under 10 percentage points based on the polling currently. Let's head to Texas up next. And still, Trump is not ahead by double digits. The latest poll here done in June has Trump ahead here by 7 percentage points, which I kind of expect the margin to be something like that in the election. Then it'll probably be about 6 points. But in Florida, some polls have actually shown it a bit closer. The Fox News poll showed it as a 4% Trump lead. Another pollster shows it at 6%, and one pollster shows it as a 10% lead. But I would look at the polls that have a lot more of those undecideds actually going with the candidate than the one that has a million undecideds, like from the Tyson group. So looking at Fox News and Florida Atlantic, it would probably place Trump in a 5.5% lead in the state of Florida. So that is a likely Republican state on this map here. Oh yeah, let's fill in the safe blue states. So these are the states that are just obviously safe blue. Illinois hasn't had a poll conducted in a while, so I'm just keeping that as safe blue as well. But yeah, let's head to Colorado up next. Still, the most recent poll here has Biden ahead by 10 percentage points, so this is a safe blue state. In New Mexico, we finally got a poll done here, and it shows Biden up here by 7 percentage points from public policy polling. And I was expecting that poll to show Biden in a lean margin here, but he's holding his own in New Mexico at least. So that's a sigh of relief for the Biden campaign. At least New Mexico isn't as close as Virginia and Minnesota, so they don't have to play as defense as much there as they do in those two states. Going up to Alaska, again with Alaska, not a lot of new polls have been done here. The latest poll shows Trump over the 50% threshold, so this is not going to go to ranked choice voting. It's not going to go to the next round. And only two states in America have a ranked choice voting, Alaska and Maine. So if you're over 50%, then there is no second round of voting. So Trump's over here by over 10 percentage points. He's over 50, so no second round. Moving on to New York and New Jersey. I think I'll kind of cover them together. New York, the most recent pollster here, Siena College, a very solid pollster. And even Emerson College. Emerson said Biden's only up here by 10. Siena only has Biden up here by 8. So based on the average of those two polls, Biden would be up here by about 9 percentage points. So this is pretty much a likely blue race currently based on the polls, but only based on the polls, basically, not taking into account other factors. But New Jersey, Emerson College poll done it back in March, shows Biden up here only by 6. So let's just fill in those states as likely blue on this polling map. I think we'll head to North Carolina and Georgia next. North Carolina, based on the most recent polls, Trump would be ahead here by an over likely margin. He's over 5% here. So Trump will say 5 and 4. I think that would, on average, put Trump at about 6%. Just doing math of the averages in my head. So Trump is ahead here by a likely margin in North Carolina. Let's check out in Georgia. So the two most recent polls here both have Trump ahead by 5 percentage points. But how does those numbers make sense? 52 and 48, is that just a rounding error? It's probably just rounding up. It's probably decimal points, and that's what it's showing as a Trump plus 5. But I'm really, what's going on with that poll here? How is it at 5% when the numbers are like this? I think that might be like straight up an error here. Is there any way I could like check the poll? All right, we're going to check this out. Because if it's like, let's see here. Does it show the exact numbers? Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's just go back to this tab. So we'll just say that Trump's ahead here. I think that might have been an input error on their part. So I'd just say Trump plus 4 and Trump plus 5. That would even average out to a Trump 4.5% lead in the state of Georgia. So yeah, let's just fill that out as lean R for now. Moving on to the states of Arizona and Nevada. Let's just do them together. Arizona, again, this is like an outlier. I don't even want to include this in the polling average North Star. What is going on here? Trump's not ahead by 14 in Arizona. I'm excluding that. But let's just look at Fabrizio and Emerson College. And Trump is up by 4 here, and Trump's up by 6 in Fabrizio. So we're average those two polls out, and that results in a Trump plus 5% lead, which is just barely enough for a likely R margin in the state of Arizona. Let's head to Nevada. And wait a minute, let's just check Arizona again. Has Biden's led in at least one poll here, but wow, that state's really red right now according to the polling. Nevada, interestingly, is getting closer in the polling average than Arizona is at this point. Fox News had Trump up by 5, and Emerson College has Biden barely ahead here. But they're pretty much dead tied if we're just looking at rounding up those numbers. But again, this is a lean R state according to the polling average at this point, just based on those most recent two polls done in June. Let's head to New Hampshire and Maine up next. Maine, we finally got some new polls here, and Maine does have ranked choice voting, which is why Biden's narrowly ahead here by 2 percentage points. Right? Yeah. 51 to 49. So, again, Biden. This poll is actually released pretty late, I believe. I don't think it even was released like in early May. But again, according to the ranked choice voting, Trump would lead early on in the first few rounds, but as those other candidates, those third-party candidates get minused out, it pretty much results in Biden gaining here in Maine, so it's lean D. Let's check New Hampshire right now. The most recent poll here only has Biden up by 4 percentage points, so it is a shift from likely blue to lean blue. So overall, New Hampshire and Maine both go down to lean blue, and the polls are saying Maine's closer than New Hampshire, and honestly, I believe it because Maine's a lot more of a rural state. It's less college educated than New Hampshire. It kind of makes sense for Maine to kind of become more Republican than New Hampshire in the long term. Let's check out Nebraska second. I'm pretty sure it was just a 1% Biden or 1.5% Biden lead according to the poll, so that's a lean blue district, but let's just check it anyway. This one doesn't even have a sample size, but the most recent poll here shows Biden up by 5. Okay. So we're not including the April one because it's been a month already. We're just going to include the most recent pollster that's closer to June. But currently, Biden is pretty much at 5 percentage points, just based on the most recent poll there. Let's check out Virginia up next. In Virginia, it's pretty much like a dead tie, like Biden plus 1, tie. And I'll just look at the 3 most recent polls. May, June. Even if we just include the Fox News poll and this one, Roanoke College, that's a tilt Biden lead. So I wouldn't expect to see that, but it really is. Biden struggling in Virginia, which is why Trump's opening a lot of campaign offices, field offices in the state of Virginia, as well as in Minnesota. In Minnesota, some polls even show it as a tie. Even Emerson Colleges is just forcing all those undecideds to vote. In reality, this is a 44 to 44 tie in Emerson College. And Survey USA also shows Biden ahead here by 6, which probably pushes it to a lean blue state instead of tilt blue. So now we're just down to the 3 states that'll decide the election. Trump still is not over 270, by the way. This is just with all these states already added in. Let's just check out Pennsylvania. And Trump has a pretty solid lead here. Biden only led in one poll recently. But based on the late June and early May poll, or early June and late May polls, Trump's ahead here by 2 percentage points, which would push it into the lean R column. So that's the ball game. I think Pennsylvania is probably definitely going to be the tipping point state in the 2024 election, just based on how Georgia is looking to be flipped red currently. But let's check out Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, it's all over the place, and it's an extremely close state. Usually it's a tie in some of these polls or a narrow Trump lead. But according to the average here, Trump's only ahead here by 0.2%. So it's in a tilt R category for now. And moving on to Michigan, Biden's odds are improving in Michigan. It's one of the closer swing states where he actually has a chance at winning it, or a very good shot at winning it, I would say. Out of those like 7 swing states typically, I think this state is the most likely to go to him. But Trump's only up here by 1. Sometimes Biden's up here by 1. Sometimes they're in a dead tie. But so far, based on the average, Trump's ahead here by a tilt R margin. But incumbency advantage could remedy that. Biden could probably end up winning. I actually think Biden's still favored in Michigan just due to incumbency advantage. But this is just strictly the polling map. This is not my prediction. But this is just a look at what the polling map currently looks at. So we have Georgia's lean R, Arizona still just stubbornly Trump plus 5, according to the average. And Ohio, it's hanging on to the likely R column, could shift to safe R potentially. And Florida, it's also surprisingly likely R. But currently, Trump, he has 312 electoral votes to Biden's 226, according to the polls. Thanks, everyone, for watching. If you're new to this channel and enjoy videos like this, I'd highly recommend subscribing. It helps me out a lot. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.